Hey YouTubers, it's your girl Shannon from Tesla and Chill, and I haven't seen you since the holidays, so I hope you had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I hope you got your 2020 vision ready. Okay, that joke is probably a little bit old, so I'm going to retire that one. But I hope you had a Happy New Year. We had a super busy holiday. We went from Seattle all the way to San Francisco in our Tesla. It was a 2-day trip. It was over 12 hours. So today's video is actually going to be a little bit more technical. We're going to talk about the details of our trip more on the data side. So I'm super excited to share what we learned with you. We really want to see if using our Tesla was more fuel efficient and really how it worked out money-wise. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the Tesla stats, and then we're going to compare it with other cars that are kind of similar to the Tesla, and we're going to see where the Tesla falls in the rankings. But before we get to that, go ahead and take a second and subscribe to this channel. And if you like this video, give it a like. Also, if you are in the market for some car accessories, hit up the rideshare shop and use our code TESLAandChill10 for 10% off your purchase site-wide. Also, the details are in the description. Now, let's get to it and let's talk about our trip because there is a lot to cover here. And what we really want to do is compare the Tesla with other similar cars that are kind of comparable to it, so we can see, again, where the numbers are going to fall and actually how efficient using the Tesla is. So, you probably already know, but our Tesla is a Tesla Model 3. It's the long range, it's the dual motor. So we are going to look at the stats there, and we're going to compare it to these cars. So aside from, of course, the obvious, our Tesla, we're going to be comparing it to our other vehicle, which is the Honda Accord Hybrid. Now, of course, we're throwing this into our comparison because it's a car we actually considered driving down to San Francisco. And of course, since it is the hybrid, it is really fuel efficient. Of course, it doesn't have the plug-in or anything like that, but since we considered using it, we're going to throw it in the rankings. Now, another car we're going to compare it to is the BMW 330i xDrive. Now, in BMW terminology, xDrive just means all-wheel drive. So kind of like how Tesla has dual motor, meaning all-wheel drive, that's just BMW's terminology. So we're going to be comparing it to the 330i xDrive, and we're choosing this vehicle because it's kind of similar to the Tesla in terms of pricing. It's a little bit on the lower end of the pricing spectrum, really. And you might be thinking in terms of performance, of course the Tesla would dust it. But it is similar on price point, it's similar in size, and really it's probably one of the most fuel efficient BMWs in that pricing segment. Now the next vehicle we're going to add into our comparison is the BMW 440i xDrive Grand Coupe. Now of course xDrive is all-wheel drive, and this 4 Series is the Grand Coupe. So coupe of course means 2 doors, Grand Coupe 4 doors, which is basically like a sedan, but of course this is BMW terminology, so Grand Coupe, there you go. So we're going to compare this one to the Tesla because this one is a little bit closer in price point compared to the BMW 3 Series. And even though it's similar in price point, the performance is a little bit higher than the 3 Series also. Now, even though the 4 Series has a better performance than the 3 Series, it's still nothing compared to the Tesla. The Tesla is still going to dust it, but it's a little bit faster. And even though it's faster, it also means it's going to be a little bit less fuel efficient. So I'm kind of interested to see the results when we see, how much it's going to cost, the 3 Series versus the 4 Series. So that's why we're choosing this one, because it's similar in size, it's similar in price point, and I think it'll be interesting to compare the 3 Series and the 4 Series versus the Tesla. Now the very last comparison we're going to throw in is really just for giggles, to be honest. So we're going to throw in Penelope the Platinum, and if you're new to the channel, Penelope the Platinum is our old Ford F-150 Platinum. She was beautiful, but she was definitely not meant for long-range driving. So just for fun, we're going to see how much money we saved not using her, and really we don't own her anymore, so we can never use her again. But it's still going to be fun to do the comparison now that we know all the cars we're going to be using: the Tesla Model 3, the Honda Accord Hybrid, the BMW 3 Series and 4 Series, and the F-150 Platinum. Let's get to the numbers. So the first thing we need to look at is our distance traveled. So we're going to break this down into 3 categories: how many miles it took getting from Seattle to San Francisco and back. So we're excluding any driving once we actually got to San Francisco. So just from Seattle to San Francisco and back, we traveled 1,616 miles. Now, once we actually got to San Francisco, we of course did some traveling while we were there. We went out to eat, we went shopping, we went to Napa Valley. Again, just local traveling once we were there. That added up to a grand total of 406 miles. So if we add the two together, our long distance traveling of 1,616 miles to the 406 miles, we get a grand total of 2,022 miles traveled during our holiday trip. Since we've determined how many miles we traveled, the next step in our comparison is to look at how much that trip would have cost in each vehicle. So we are using the website fueleconomy.gov, and of course, since it's a government website, we know it can be trusted. But we're using this website because we don't have a BMW 3 Series or 4 Series, and we no longer have the F-150. So we're using this website as our baseline so we can kind of determine, again, how much the trip would have cost. So using this website, in our Tesla, they average 28 cents per kilowatt, and then the average cost of a gallon of gas is $3.20. So those are the numbers we're going to be using. Now we're going to go over the numbers for the hybrid and the other ICE vehicles first, and then we're going to go over how much the government thinks it would have cost to travel in the Tesla last. And then we're going to see how accurate those numbers actually are for us. So we're going to see if what we actually spent would have been correlated to what the government thinks we should have spent. So let's look at the actual costs now. So using that fueleconomy.gov website, they estimate that using the Honda Accord Hybrid, it would cost $109 as a round trip cost. Which $109, I feel like that's really not bad, considering we had 3 people. We had myself and my husband and our 16-month-old son. So really, I feel like that's a pretty good deal. I mean, that's still cheaper than flying. Now, if we were to compare that to the BMW 3 Series, they estimate that it would cost $156 round trip, which honestly, that's still not bad. I mean, it's almost $50 more, but I think overall, again, for 3 people, I mean, I think that's still a pretty good deal. We'd probably still consider driving versus flying. Now, if we were to compare that to the 4 Series, the 4 Series only costs about $20 more. It would be $176 round trip. And if you really think about that, a $20 difference isn't too bad, I think, if you really consider the fact that you're getting so much more performance for a 4 Series. But then if you really look at buying the cars outright, you're paying almost $10,000 more for a 4 Series than a 3 Series. So I'm not sure if that really balances out, but estimating $20 more, I don't think that's awful. But if we were to compare that to the F-150, we're going to see a huge jump here. If we were to have driven the Platinum, that would have cost $267, which is getting a little bit more on the pricier side. Honestly, I'd probably rather use that money to buy myself a new purse. Considering the fact that it's so not fuel efficient, we definitely would not consider taking that car. But again, the F-150 is just for fun. Now, here is the crazy part. If we compare all of those numbers to how much it's estimated the Tesla would cost, is going to boggle your mind. Because using the Tesla round trip from Seattle to San Francisco and back, it would cost an estimated $62, which is crazy. That is like literally pennies, people. So $62, I think that's definitely a bargain. Now, I don't know really how accurate these numbers really are. If you kind of consider like the external factors, I don't know if that website is taking into consideration, again, the fact that we had 3 people in the vehicle, we were weighed down with presents and snacks for J3 and diapers, all sorts of luggage, things like that. And also, there is quite a bit of terrain changes going from Seattle to San Francisco. We drove through quite a few mountain ranges, so that was definitely a lot of changes in elevation, which really impacts fuel efficiency. And I am a little bit cold-natured, or a lot cold-natured, so we had the heat blasting pretty much the entire time, and that definitely takes, again, another toll on fuel efficiency. And there is someone in our vehicle, my husband, who has a little bit of a heavy foot. So when you're speeding a little bit, going, that 5 to 10 miles over, that again impacts fuel efficiency. But I think this is like a really good baseline to use. I think we definitely get some concrete numbers using this. I'm really impressed that $62 is the total cost for using the Tesla. I mean, really saving that much money, I can spend it elsewhere, so that's exciting for me. But again, that was just the estimate. Now we're gonna actually look at how much it really cost us to get to and from San Francisco. And this is talking not just the 1,600 miles to and from Seattle, but actually when we were traveling around San Francisco also. So that includes going to Napa, that includes going out to restaurants and shopping and all those local events we went to. How much did that actually cost us? And to be honest, I kind of debated whether I should include this in the video or not, because I almost feel like it's cheating when I share this with you. And the total cost was $45. So our entire trip, that was 2,022 miles, only cost us $45. And let me explain. So, as you're probably familiar, Tesla has their referral program. So if you are a Tesla owner and you refer someone else to buy a Tesla and they use your referral code, side note, if you are buying a Tesla, please use this code. So if you are buying a Tesla and you use a referral code, then Tesla gives you and the new Tesla owner 1,000 free Supercharger miles. And thanks to you YouTubers, who we really appreciate, thank you for using our code, because we got free Supercharger miles. And we actually ended up exhausting them on this trip. It just happened to coincide that way. So on our way down from Seattle to San Francisco, that entire trip was free because we used the Supercharger miles. So we didn't have to pay for any of those mileages. We didn't have to pay for any of those miles. Now, once we were in San Francisco, we still had those Supercharger miles to use. So anytime we charged up, that was free too. So that was really exciting for us. Now, our miles just happened to exhaust or expire on our way back from San Francisco to Seattle. So we really only paid $45. And again, that was literally just going back home. So it's kind of a weird piece to include because it's such a unique thing to Tesla. I don't know of any other car company that gives those kind of like referral bonuses or free miles. But it is real life. I mean, that's what happened to us. I think if you really consider the fact that it should have cost us $62 just getting to San Francisco and back, not including any sort of extra travel, I think that's already super cheap. But then when you look at the fact that it only cost us $45 to go over 2,000 miles, I mean, that's insane. That's crazy. That's really exciting for us. I mean, it's good for our wallet. As a Tesla owner, it makes me really excited. It makes me want to refer other people. It gets me excited about the brand again because it's something unique that only Tesla does for its customers. I think that's a really cool thing, is that Tesla takes care of its owners even after you purchase the car. So it's just kind of neat. I really like that they do that. It works out for everyone, I think. So again, $45 for over 2,000 miles. I think that's really insane when you think about it. I mean, that's pocket change. I think we probably spend more than that just going to Starbucks in a month. So that's really crazy when you lay it out that way. But those are really like the statistical or like data side of this. Now let's talk about what my personal opinion is traveling in the Tesla. So here is my PO, or my personal opinion. So initially, we weren't even really planning on driving the Tesla to San Francisco. We really actually were leaning more towards the Honda Accord Hybrid, and that's simply because it was bigger. And size-wise, of course, it is really similar to the Tesla, but when you talk about the interior, I think the Honda is just a little bit roomier, and considering the fact that we were going to see my family and we might have extra people in the car, I thought it would just be a little bit more comfortable. But then we looked at all the pros of using the Tesla, and I mean, we had those free Supercharger miles. Honestly, it would make driving a lot easier because you could use the Navigate on autopilot, and even though you still have to be alert, you don't have to be, you know, kind of like, I mean, you still have to be alert, but you don't have to be as focused as you would in a normal ICE vehicle because it's got the autopilot to help you. And then, of course, using the Tesla, even just being more efficient on the road, that was definitely a plus for us, and it helps the environment. So that's really why we decided to use the Tesla, and I'm really glad that we did because we saved so much money. We did travel very comfortably. We still had plenty of room. We were able to utilize the trunk and the front for bringing things to and from Seattle, which was really helpful. And then of course using the Navigate on autopilot, that was really a lifesaver. I think when you drive 12 hours, that's really exhausting. You have to be like really mentally alert all the time. So just having the Navigate on autopilot there is really just kind of reassuring that kind of like something else is watching the vehicle just like you are. So it's kind of a good backup. So using the Tesla, it was definitely a plus for us. If we go on a long trip again, I would no doubt choose the Tesla over the Honda. I think it was really a win for everyone. And our son, I mean, he loves sleeping in it. I think he loves the fact that he can just look up because he's sitting in his car seat, so he's looking back. He can look up and he can see things move. Whereas if we were to have brought the Honda, he would just be looking at a roof. So I think it was a win-win for everyone. I think overall, I'm really glad that we brought the Tesla. So share your thoughts with me. What do you think about long driving? Do you bring certain vehicles over other vehicles? How do you feel about long drives in a Tesla? Is it comfortable for you? Let me know your thoughts. Drop me your comments below. That's all I've got for now. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.